Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to today's episode of 49 Faithfullee. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. TL, what's good, my guy?
Same old, same old. I love to be here with you talking 49er football on a weekly basis. So, yeah, we have our first game tomorrow. I can't wait to see how that pans out for us. So,
Yep. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Yep.
yeah.
Happy Thursday to everybody out there. Good to see you guys. So right before the show starts, I was telling TL how we were going to start off the show with the giveaway to the first person that commented in the chat, which happened to be 49ers Chanel Joel. So congratulations. We'll draw you a card in a minute. But let's say what's up to everybody. Joel, of course. Fernando, now we know your name, so I don't have to call you 49ers Throwback anymore. 49er Media, Tia, Shoddy. I'm going to just make up a name for him every time. Let's see. Dina. Hi, everybody. Appreciate you guys. I mean, the dream. The little goat himself is here. All right, so before we get started, let's pull Joel out something good here. Let's see what we can get for him. I hope everybody's doing great today. What's up, Denise?
Amin's a little young goat, man, I swear.
He is.
I appreciate you, Amin, on the 300 subscribers.
Yes, thank you. All right, Joel, this is a timestamp, George Kittle. It's from Kittle Reaches Like a Star during the Seahawks game in 2021.
Timestamp George Kittle.
So congratulations. I have mail day this week, so I'll get everybody's stuff sent out this week. Let's get this put in here. So today we had some news come out on a few things. Well, the last couple days, actually. But let's start it off with Jimmy G so we can get him done and over with. And I'll have to talk about him the rest of the show. So a couple things came out. Some news released from, an article, whatever, from Mike Silver, who, is now 49ers, covers the 49ers exclusively now. I don't know how he got so lucky there, but
seriously.
Yeah. Like he has probably 80% of the 49ers fan base blocked on Twitter, and then you choose to go right for the 49ers. Like nobody's even going to see what the hell you're saying because you have everybody blocked, that doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. Hope he's not another David Lombardi, I swear.
God. These people are getting so annoying out there.
Yeah.
So he released a story saying, we all know that Jimmy G, he doesn't answer his, teammates' phone calls and whatnot. So he released an article saying that when Jimmy, came to the team and then signed his extension, that after he signed his extension, he pretty much just ghosted the team. They didn't hear from him the entire time until the start of the season to let, the players had to report that the team, the coaches, everybody, you're new to the team. You just signed millions of dollar contracts and then you just ignore that new team's phone calls and everything, So I thought that was pretty interesting that, not only is, everybody wants to say, oh, he's such a good teammate. He's such this, he's such that, not only do we hear, from the looks of it, Kittle looked to be like his best friend, on the field, whatever. But, Kittle was the first one that's always coming out saying, oh, Jimmy, don't answer my text, doesn't answer the phone. He disappears in the off season, and now we're hearing more and more people come out and say that. We heard, even John Lynch recently, in one of his pressers, said, well, Jimmy disappears during the off season, so nobody communicates with him. This is supposed to be the leader, the, franchise quarterback of your team, the guy that you had just paid all these $1 million, and he's ghosting you. And then that's when the news releases that he, they see him out with the porn star, such weird shit. I'm so glad, that we have a quarterback now that seems to be the complete opposite of that, he's reaching out to players, as soon as they sign their contracts, as soon as they got drafted, and he's done that even in college. They said that he would do those kind of things, so it's so nice to have a guy that's, representing your team that's actually going to be around the franchise, So did you hear that story? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I did hear that story, and I'm gonna say this about it. Everybody, like you mentioned, right, like a few minutes ago, everybody was like, "Oh, G-Mate's such a great teammate, such a great teammate." I don't think that there's anybody on the team that's going to talk bad about him because he's still on the 49ers. Like, they're not going to do that. You notice that when he left the Patriots, everybody had something to say about him.
Yep.
They called him the B word and all this other stuff, that that he's not a gamer and stuff like that. And then the story that Nick told us on Spaces from Nothing But Niners, telling me how like that kid went up to him and asked him for an autograph. He told the kid to get the F out of my face.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Do autographs.
I don't do autographs, so get out of my face. You know what I mean? So is he really a good guy? You know what I'm saying? So for him, for now, everybody coming out saying that's funny because he's getting ready to be off this team here pretty soon, and now it's all coming out how he doesn't, he disappears this and that. So I wouldn't be surprised that after he's gone off this team, that there's stuff that comes out about him saying that, oh, he wasn't that like the great leader that everybody thought he was. So, there's too many coincidences with Jimmy that shows that he might not be the good guy that everybody thinks he is. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. I remember when I was in high school, I used to put these athletes on a pedestal, looking up to them. And my grandma always told me, like, it's okay for you to, to follow them and, want to be the athlete that they are, but be careful who you celebrate. Because you don't know who these dudes are and what they do behind closed doors. For all appearance, they might look like the nicest guy out there, but at the same time, when she told me that, and it stuck with me. So I don't really put these guys on the pedestal like that. Like I'll sit there and say that you're a great guy until I see otherwise, but I won't sit there and be like, oh, you're the best and all this other stuff. So yeah, it's just like I said, there's too many coincidences. So yeah, I just don't think that he's the leader that everybody proclaims that he is. So.
Yeah. Before we get into the other news for him, you just mentioned something that, another topic that I had to bring up. So since you kind of touched on it, we'll just, swing over there for a second. Some news this week came out about Frank Gore, that he has a simple assault. He got arrested or he got charged? He got charged with simple assault, right?
Simple assault. Yeah, he didn't get arrested. I don't believe.
So when I first saw that, like, I was like so like shocked. Like, hell no. Like, why Frank? And like, not Frank. Like, that's the guy. Like, I say all the time that I like got into football because of. Like, that's my number one favorite player in the world. Like, so when I saw that, I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I felt like my heart just sunk into my stomach. I was like we all have a group chat, like I messaged in there, like Frank, like, did you guys see this? Like, like I was just so shocked. I couldn't believe it. And, then once I read into it and Swan Song, sent me some info about, what simple assault actually is. It could be just like a verbal thing. It could be, he could have thrown something at someone and it missed, didn't even hit the person. That can be simple assault. Like, so hopefully, once things come out, more info comes out about it, like it's not what we're, the first thing that comes to all of our minds, probably, hopefully it's not as bad as, that first seemed. But, it's something I just wanted to touch on and talk about because, even though we don't obviously know what happened yet, we don't have too many details about it. We did, sit here and talk about, Deshaun Watson and what's going on there, and other players on other teams. So it's only right that, we can't not talk about it just because of somebody that, we like, or somebody that has connections to the 49ers,
like
so
fan favorite or whatever.
Yeah. What were your thoughts when you saw that? How do you feel about that? Wait, before you go, what's up, Bill, David,
JV,
hello, Jesse, what's up? Good to see you. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so before I start, the one thing I will say, you and I are not hypocrites. We call it like we see it. And the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the Frank Gore news was disappointed. Not angry, not, because like you said, us as fans, 49er fans, he's always been a stand up guy. You kind of don't want to believe it. But at the same time, if he did what he did, I mean, the report that came out is that he grabbed a female by his hair and dragged her naked through a hotel room. So if that's the case, like I'm not feeling that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, too, just like I give everybody else the benefit of the doubt, like let's see what all comes out. Let's see what's going on here, and let's see the true story, or at least a valid story that comes out, so we can make our own judgment. You know what I mean? If he did do it, I'm very disappointed because like you said, he's been a fan favorite. You never heard anything bad about the guy. We're all human. We make mistakes, stuff like that. But so this is the first time I've ever heard anything. But who knows? Maybe it was just something where they got into an argument, and then he had some alcohol in him or something, and he let his anger get the best of him. Who knows? I just hope that when everything comes out, that his name is cleared because he actually didn't do what they said. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm hoping for. It's not really much I can speak on because I don't know the whole story. But I said, for Frank Gore being such a long time fan favorite of the Niners and stuff like that, all the stuff he's been through with tearing the 2 ACLs and all this other stuff. Like, I just hope that all this stuff is not true about Frank Gore.
Yep, I agree. Once more details come out and more stuff's released, then we'll definitely, hit back on that topic. But until then, so let me get this girl's name before I, just to give her the right credit, because I don't really know who she is. Mary Kay Cabot. I don't know. So she was the one that, she has a pretty big following, everything. From what I hear, she's a respected source. She was the one that had released like last month or whatever that the Browns weren't interested in Jimmy, or that, and shut up all those rumors. She released a tweet today saying that Browns will consider acquiring 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo if Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension is increased. We know that, the NFL is trying to get that increased from 6 games. I would expect, I'm expecting that he's going to get suspended a year. It doesn't look like the NFL wants to. I think that they know the backlash is that's going to happen if Deshaun Watson only gets suspended 6 games. Let's just say that. So this is something that we've been talking about. I asked you this before any of the rumors of him going to the Browns would, even got started months ago. I've been thinking that, that makes sense. That makes the most sense for him the entire time if, Watson got suspended for longer, because they have such a great team. So, if you're going to turn it over to your backup, that we've seen other teams think, oh, we'll try to turn it over to this guy. And, we saw how that turned out. It's not like this guy hasn't started in the past. We know who that is. So why would you go into the season knowing you have all this talent and just say, well, we're going to roll with this backup quarterback and say, screw the season, that doesn't make sense. They set up the whole situation so that they're only paying Deshaun, $1 million this season in case, this happens. So they have the money to pay Jimmy. They have the resources to trade. I've seen some ideas being floated out there, for different players. Maybe, their running back, requested a trade. I think we're cool on running backs, but obviously he wants to get paid and extended. That's his whole problem right now. He wants to get paid. So I'm cool on that idea, but I've also seen, other players involved in the deal and whatnot. Honestly, for me, and I've also seen Chris Polo put out a poll, I think it was him that, what would you want to get in for him or whatever? I don't just whatever the 49ers can get, take it. If we finally have a team that's going to be desperate enough to trade for him, I don't care if it's a 7th. I don't care if it's a 7th in 3 years. Just get him out of here, you know? Like if they're stupid enough to pay their, Deshaun Watson, even though it's $1 million, whatever, they traded a lot for that guy and are still paying for him to have him not play a whole season, right? They're still paying for Baker. They're paying for their backup, So if they're going to trade for Jimmy and pay his whole salary too, like, please just let him just go for free, don't even make them. They're already doing us such a nice favor. Like, that's good. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that, this could be a real possibility? Or do you still think that he ends up just getting cut?
I don't know. I think this gets dragged out a little bit. Like, I think we're not going to know what's going to go on with the suspension, I don't believe, before week 1, because I feel like his legal team is going to try to drag it out. They're going to bring up the Ben Roethlisberger stuff. They said, they even admitted it. I'm going to bring up the Ben Roethlisberger when he didn't get that much time off. So with the way, here's my thoughts, and you're right. Just if they want to give us a 7th, fine. The way our offensive line is kind of shaky, and because they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, including Deshaun Watson, I know they just picked up Josh Rosen, they have Joshua Dobbs, and they got Jacoby Brissett. Give me Jacoby Brissett and a 7th, and I'm happy, because I'm not comfortable right now with the offensive line at this moment, even though Spencer Burford's been impressing me. And I don't like our backups. I don't like Sudfeld. I don't like Brock Purdy. I was hoping for Tyrod Taylor in the offseason. It didn't happen because I felt like he's a serviceable backup. Jacoby Brissett's a serviceable backup. If something were to happen to our guy, Trey, I can feel like Jacoby Brissett can come in and play, 2 or 3 games and win us some games. He's a pretty smart quarterback. So he'd be who I asked for. I don't care about any other position groups, all this other stuff. Give me Jacoby Brissett. Give me a 7th in 2024 and call it a day. And I'd be happy with that. So that's what I would do. The Browns, obviously, we all know they make some boneheaded choices and decisions for them to protect themselves and say, I'm only going to pay you $1 million in 2022. That was a smart move because of what was up in the air. So that's what I would do. Ultimately, I still think he gets cut. I still think people are going to sit there and they're going to take their chances and say, hey, I'm going to see if I can get him for nothing, and then I don't have to pay his salary and, all this other stuff. So, yeah, I think he gets cut, but I don't think we'll find out his full suspension before week 1, in my opinion. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, to me, I was thinking that we would, because I don't think that they're going to make the Browns start the season and not know who they're even going to have starting quarterback. Like, that don't make sense to me that they would wait. So I would think that we'd see the results of that come down in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Goodell will have his decision made, but I think that his legal team is going to appeal it.
Well, I heard that you can't appeal the appeal, so they had the chance to appeal the first ruling, and then they didn't appeal it, so the NFL appealed, and that's it. Like, they can sue and take it to court and whatever, but the suspension's already going to kick in. It doesn't matter.
And it might not, and because he's already suspended for 6 games, it might not happen right away just because there's already a suspension in place. So he can be like, okay, he's already suspended for 6 weeks, so maybe by week 3 he'll have a decision to say, okay, on top of these 6 games, he's suspended another 5 or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Who knows? I don't know how it's going to work and how it's going to be pulled off, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like a 10-game suspension, that the Browns might be like, you know what, no, I need this man. I need Jimmy to come in and play these 10 games just because, hopefully he can go 5-5 or 6-4, whatever the case may be. So, because I feel like their roster is kind of built like ours.
Yeah.
You got an Amari Cooper who's, he's not really a deep threat. He's a good route runner, catch stuff over the middle. They got some good tight ends, great running game, good defense. So, yeah, I feel like they kind of mirror us a little bit. So,
yep. Hey, Tanya Bryant. John V says, somebody hit me up with the blue wrench. I'll keep the porn and haters away. I've tried. Like, you guys are all set as moderators in the damn channel, but I don't know why it doesn't. Like, I even erased everybody out of there and redid it, and still, like, it doesn't show up on you guys. So I don't know. I have to put in some hate mail to YouTube and see what's going on. They don't want me to have no moderation around here. Because I've seen people like with way less subscribers. I was thinking, well, maybe you have to be, you know, at a certain point to get it. But I've seen people with way less that have moderators.
The moderators, yeah,
it's weird. So yeah, it'll be interesting, definitely, to see. Hopefully, you know, it happens soon. So something I heard recently on Grant's show, his dad had asked him a question, and you know, like, we know that obviously Jimmy's been there, you know, he's been throwing on the side, whatever, when the team's out there and the media's out there and the fans are out there. But, you know, his dad asked him, and I didn't think about it until I heard him ask him this, you're like, oh, that's, you know, such a good point. He asked him, so does that mean that Jimmy G has a locker, you know, in the locker room, that he's sharing a locker with Trey Lance and the rest of the team? You know, it's like he changes, he dresses, you know, he doesn't dress in his car, right? Like, and so yeah, like he's like in the locker room with Trey Lance and Trey Lance's team. Like, you know, so not even, you know, like I was already pissed off to have him there at all, you know, like period. And then to have the fans like there hooting and hollering over him, and, you know, like all this freaking big show, like big showcase, you know. But and then to now think about it, like, and then like after he asked him that, like I'm thinking, okay, the locker room. So, you know, like he's running into him in the hallways. He has to see, like, is he eating there? Like, you know, Jimmy's sitting in the freaking lunchroom when Trey walks in. Like, you know, like get him the fuck out of here. I don't, like, you know, tell him, like, go work out somewhere else, Jimmy. We don't need you to come to the facility. Like, it's so ridiculous, you know, like that has to be so uncomfortable. And, you know, especially when, you know, it's coming out that, oh, Trey's struggling at this practice or whatever, you know, even though it's just practice. Don't even get me started on that. But, you know, that's happening while he has to have Jimmy there up his ass, you know, like talking to his teammates and like, oh, did you see Trey Lance miss that throw that you always make? You know, like, who knows? You know, like we know that Jimmy has Jimmy guys in there, you know, so like who knows what the conversations are like or what the mood's like. The team can sit up there and say, oh, it's not a distraction, and Kyle can say whatever the fuck he wants, but at the end of the day, like he's not going to tell us if it is. He's not going to tell us, you know, if Trey came to him and said it is uncomfortable, like, you know, and would Trey even say anything? You know, to him, like, of course he's not going to tell us that he hates Jimmy either, but you know, he told us like, oh, you know, Jimmy's a great guy. Jimmy, you know, is my best friend, whatever, you know. But so would he even say anything if it's making him uncomfortable? You know, is Jimmy's presence making him perform a certain way or making, you know, like I would think about it how I would have felt, you know, if I'm having to do my job, you know, with my person, the boss, you know, that I took their job or whatever, sitting at the table next to me or shit sitting in the office next to me, you know, like that's just an uncomfortable atmosphere, like regardless what you do for work, you know, like to have to walk in, like I'd be sick to my stomach having to walk into the office every day, like feeling, you know, like knowing that. So like, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, just like get him the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick of it.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a little bit speechless right now of all the stuff that's going on. You know, I'm hearing, and here's the thing, you know, I love me some Kyle, you know, as a coach. He seems like, you know, he's actually, obviously he's smart, you know, he's a top 3 offensive mind in football. You know, I just don't trust him or John. I don't. Like, I just don't trust him. I mean, the fact that Kyle came out and said that Jimmy's been the best quarterback on this team since Steve Young, no. Like, Jeff Garcia made 3 Pro Bowls on the Niners. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, let's be real here. Is he trying to up his trade value? Who knows? Or is he or I wouldn't be surprised. And I hate I have to say this, but I always prepare myself for disappointment. Because when stuff don't disappoint me, then I go away happy. I always, and it's not a negative mindset. I just look at the pros and cons of everything. And this is everything at work. When it comes to decision making, I always think of pros and cons. Okay, that's just how I'm wired. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, like we always sit here and we say like Kyle feels like he needs to win. Like he needs to win. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure, not just on Trey, a lot of pressure on him too. Because, I would not be surprised if they're keeping him around. And because for me, I'm gonna agree with you. If it was me, his locker would be cleaned out. You're not working out here. You're not. I don't even want you on the field. You're too much of a distraction from what I'm trying to do with this current team. You know what I'm saying? He's too much of a distraction for this current team. So I agree. There's no way I'd have him on the field working out with Trey and all these other people. He's not working out with the offense, but I'm saying him working out on the side of the field.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with this comment, but even though everybody always says like, "Oh, Kyle is the best," he's the one who has the final say. So we can say that all he wants. He's not the owner of this team.
Exactly.
He can sit here and say, "Oh, I make the final decisions." When it comes down to it, Jed York and his family write the checks. Period. So if they want Jimmy to stay on this team, he will stay on this team, whether we agree with it or not. So,
like, they all respect Jimmy. They're not just going to kick him to the fucking curb and make him like he's a piece of trash,
Yeah, so I agree with you with your comment you said a couple shows ago. If he's on this team, there's somebody who deserves to be fired. But what if John and Kyle's hands are tied? What if Jed is like, no, let's keep him one more year. If Trey struggles, we'll go ahead and throw Jimmy in. Now that's just open up a whole can of worms because now you're messing with Trey's confidence. If Trey is I don't think that Trey, to me, I feel like he knows he has more ability than Jimmy. I mean, you can step on the football field and look at everybody and be like, I'm more talented than this person. I'm more talented than that person. Like when I was playing football and the guy came from LA and took my spot as a linebacker, I knew he was better than me. I was like, man, this guy's going to take my spot. So these players aren't dumb. They know if you have more talent than somebody or not, plain and simple. So I don't think Jimmy on the field is bothering him at all. So, but somebody made a comment like if he's distracted by Jimmy, he ain't ready.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really agree with that part of it.
Either.
I don't agree with that. But at the same time, it would be a weakness for Trey to go to Kyle or to Brian Greasy and be like, hey, Jimmy being on the field is bothering me. It's messing with my mentals a little bit. That would come off as kind of weak and soft. And ain't nobody going to do that. So I don't think Trey would even say anything like that. Could it make him feel a little bit uncomfortable? It could. As far as like, man, if I don't make this throw or if I don't do this, do that, who's whispering, like you said, who's saying, oh, man, Jimmy made that throw all the time or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, so I don't keep beating the dead horse and keep talking about this. Ultimately, Trey's going to be fine. I don't think that Trey's even worried about Jimmy. I think he's just like, you know what? I'm out here to work. I'm out here to make my team better. And I think that it's kind of a disservice to Trey having Jimmy out there running and people from the stands yelling QB1 and all this stuff like that's disrespectful for the team that you're looking at putting out there on week 1. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say this to end this. I think that Jimmy's gone. However, I would not be surprised because if they decide to keep this man on this team because they're not sure of what's going to happen. I feel like they have all the what's the word I want to use? Like the faith in the world in Trey, but you just never know. Like, you know what I mean? It could be something that coming from Jed York. It'd be something that they could be talking about like, we have our team together. Because I feel like they feel their team's already intact. And Jimmy's salary is not hurting them this year because free agency has already passed. So they've gotten who they wanted. So, fam, if he's on this team, don't be surprised. It'll be a disappointment, but don't be surprised that this man is still on this team and he's just waiting his time to sit back and be like, whoa, I'm going to kick back on this bench, hold this clipboard and make this $25 million a year. And if they need me, I'm going to step on the field. So I don't know. I'm kind of lost for words about it. I don't know what to say. I'm going to prepare, like I said, prepare myself for the worst. I'm going to go in there with positivity and thinking that Trey's going to get us to at least like an 11-6 record. I have no worries about him because I feel like Trey can come in there and do better than 20 touchdowns and 15 total turnovers. So,
yeah. I don't think he will be on the team, however, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't either. But man,
Hey, Melissa, Waruna, what's up, guys? So you mentioned, let me see, make sure. Well, Swan, what's up, Swan? So you had mentioned, that Shanahan had been on. Well, you had mentioned, a quote that he said that about Jimmy being the best quarterback since Steve Young. He had talked about that on I Am Athlete podcast. Another quote from him also came out this yesterday about him saying that when it came to the quarterback decision when we drafted Trey, that it had come down to Trey and Mac. This is the first time that he's actually said, no, well, he didn't say Justin Fields had nothing to do with it, but he said that by saying, that it was down to Trey and Mac. I was kind of aggravated when I saw that come out because it's like, why say that now? Like, you had been hush hush about it this whole entire time. And now that, Trey's finally about to start, finally taking over team, all this, we're trying to get rid of Jimmy. And now you have to be out there running your mouth about, oh, it was, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like unnecessary info that he's spilling to these guys just because, like, these are his favorite guys. And, oh, that's the first guy he drafted. And, he went on to tell that whole story about, how he drafted him, pretty much told his dad he needed to draft him. And, so that's how Brandon Marshall got drafted by the freaking Broncos. Yeah. So, like, I feel like he's just, like, so starstruck with these guys. These are, like, his favorite football players. And he's just, spilling all this freaking info, running in his mouth and saying shit he doesn't need to say. It's like, oh, my God. So, a lot of this fan base, leading up to the draft, we had a huge portion of this fan base that were, on the Justin Fields train. So much so that, we know I wanted Trey since he declared he was going into the draft. But after, all the 49ers fans hyping up, Justin Fields, every second on the timeline, there was something about Justin Fields coming to the 49ers. There's something about Justin Fields videos and, all this linking him to Shanahan from back in the day and all this stuff, right? So, like, I was like, okay, it's cool if we draft Justin Fields, I'm cool with it, either way. Like, I just didn't want Mac Jones at that point. I know you as well didn't want Mac Jones. So I don't know. Personally, I don't feel no type of way. Like, oh, like there's a lot of people that feel like, oh, I feel disrespect, towards Justin Fields because, they like him so much and, they still have, football crushes on him. I just feel like even though, like Shanahan had connection, there has to be something like either in his personality, in his, like we see things like, like Kyler Murray, like his work ethics obviously being questioned, like because he's rather play video games than, study football. So I feel like it has to be something like that, like I don't feel like from a football like skill standpoint, there could be something that turned him off that much from him, that he wasn't even in like, the discussion. Like, I feel like it has to be something like personality or something that like, like what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like, like if it was from a skill standpoint, like that he would have been in it instead of freaking Mac Jones. What do you think?
I'm going to say the thing with Justin Fields, like, I don't know. I just kind of felt that he wasn't it because, as a Wolverines fan, I watched a lot of Justin Fields. And to me, I felt like Justin Fields took a long time to process what was going on the field. Like, Ohio State runs this kind of a gimmicky type offense, you know what I mean? Like, and they had so many athletes on the field at wide receiver and all this stuff. Like, it was like a one read type thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like usually the first read on that offense was open. And when it wasn't, I saw Justin Fields hold on to the ball for too long. Like Kyle don't like that. He likes quick processors. So that's what I saw with Justin Fields, and then him holding on the ball for too long. And those are one things that Kyle does not like. You know what I mean? And then two, like, he's seen this kid from his high school camps that he used to host when he was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons and stuff like that. But when we were at 12, I don't know if we were looking at quarterback or what, but when we moved up to 3, and I started seeing the combines and and all this other stuff, I knew it was Trey because and you and I talked about this prior to the draft and everything over a year ago. Me and you both agreed Trey Lance is the pick. When he said if you like the guy at 12, you should like him at 3. I'm like, okay, it's Trey. He had the pro style offense. When he traded up, he knew he was comfortable with either Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, or Trey Lance. You don't trade up to 3 in hopes that you get that you're like, oh, the guy falls to me. To trade up to 3, that means you were comfortable with 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was those 3. I think he knew he didn't have a chance at Lawrence. Everybody kind of knew he was the first pick. I think, and we can say what we want. I'm sure that Saleh kind of told him a little bit like, yeah, we're all in on Zach Wilson. So I think he felt comfortable enough to trade up to get the guy because he runs the pro style offense. He is a running quarter. He is a pocket quarterback who can run if need be. You know what I mean? So I knew all along it was Trey. And when he made the Drew Brees who runs like Lamar Jackson comparison, I'm like, okay, because I just had, like I said, I had a feeling. I honestly didn't think it was Mac Jones unless he stayed up to 12. When we were at 3, I was comfortable with either Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Like I was on all 3 of those, and I was okay with whatever decision they made as long as it wasn't Mac Jones. But we all know, if you know football, you all know you're not trading up to the 3rd overall pick to draft a Mac Jones. That's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I think there's just little small things that Kyle Shanahan likes, and I felt like he felt with Trey would have probably the least learning curve out of those 3, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
You look at Trey. Everybody always talks about Trey had a high IQ, so that wasn't a worry. We know he comes from a good family. He keeps his nose clean. But on top of all that, yeah, Mac Jones right now is probably he's better decision maker, accuracy. But we all know at the top of the draft, you always go with potential. You always go, what can this quarterback look like in 3 years? That's why you look at the Josh Allens and stuff like that. He was green when he came in, but somebody like a Kyle Shanahan, a Brian Dable who know offense, they're like, okay, you know what? I think I can mold this quarterback into being what I want him to be. And Trey Lance just has all the intangibles and too many tools to pass on. So I had no issue. I knew he was a pick. I'm not trying to sound arrogant or like, oh, I know it all. It just made the most sense to me in my eyes for what Kyle Shanahan was looking for.
Yeah,
I think that year when we played the Jets and they beat the brakes off of us, and he saw Josh Allen up close and personal, because Kyle Shanahan was always known as he only wants a pocket QB, the Kirk Cousinses and the Matt Ryan, stuff like that. I think he knows the NFL has evolved. And he's like, I need somebody who can both throw from the pocket, and then he plays Russell Wilson. Well, he did play Russell Wilson twice a year. He saw it up close and personal. So he knows what a quarterback with a great arm, smart, with a high IQ, who can use his legs, it looks like. So that's what ultimately knew that he was going to be there. But Justin Fields, I think he'll be fine. He's in a terrible situation. I think if he came to us, he would have been fine, because processing, I don't know how easy it is to be a quick processor, but as far as like holding onto the ball long, I think it's easier to fix that when you're like, oh, okay, like he's open, let me just get him the ball, and then I think over time with with reps and muscle memory, it just gets easier to learn. If you're not like Kyler Murray and you're spending time watching film, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, that's what I have to think about that.
Also, how they say that Trey, he like looks to throw before he looks to run, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole time that he's moving around, he's looking to throw.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not the case with Justin Fields. I feel like he's like more quick to just take off and run. Like, when he's moving around, like his eyes aren't downfield looking to throw. Like he's looking to just take off and go, Yeah. So, that's one thing that I liked about Trey too, because I don't want, just like a running quarterback, like I love Lamar, but I just feel like I wouldn't want, like, I feel like that's so much risk, like for injury. Just, I don't, like as great as he is, like, does he have the arm to take him over the top and get this, like win the Super Bowl? Like, he hasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Like, who knows, but we know that a guy that can throw the football can win the Super Bowl, right? So like the mobility and him being able to run is just like a cherry on top.
I agree.
Yeah, it did come
Yeah,
out
he
like
does have
during the draft,
epilepsy.
right before the draft. That he has epilepsy.
I was trying to find the bet I made, but it's so far down because it was over a year ago. I kept the receipts in case somebody tried to say I was lying, but I have it. I went and made it 10 days prior to the draft. It was like April 14th or something like that. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be Trey Lance, and I stuck to my guns and I went and I made the bet, and he won me some money because I just like I said, it made the most sense in my opinion who Kyle was looking for in a quarterback.
Yeah. Media, yeah, that's on the I Am Athlete podcast. I couldn't find it on the one on YouTube, but I found it on Apple Podcasts. It's like one of the last most recent episodes that they've had. It's titled, Kyle Shanahan, whatever, but it's like this long ass podcast, and Kyle is only in like the last 10 minutes of it or whatever. So just fast forward all the way to the end.
Let me make a comment to Swan Song real quick. I don't know if you're on when we're talking about the Jimmy to Cleveland trade. That's my concern as well about Trey getting hurt while running up the middle and stuff like that. So that's why I said if we do trade, I would like to pick up Jacoby Brissett to be our backup since they signed Josh Rosen and they have Joshua Dobbs. So they have like 4 quarterbacks, on their roster. So if we can get us a decent, because I don't like Sudfeld, I just don't have any faith in him. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Sudfeld. Brock Purdy, I'm just not, I just don't have any faith in him either. Like he's been looking terrible. So I just think like if Trey, and I hope he doesn't, I'm not trying to speaking into existence, but if something were to happen to Trey, I don't feel comfortable with our roster if he has to miss a month or something like that at quarterback. You know what I mean? At least Jacoby Brissett, he's won in this league. He's been a starting quarterback for a decent amount of time. I think he spent the whole season as a starter with the Colts a few years ago before they brought in Rivers, and he played pretty well. Heck, I think he could be a career backup. And spend another 10 years in this league because he's pretty good. So that's my concern as well, Swan Song. So I agree with you 100%.
I don't see the Browns trading away their backup when they're going to need a backup for Jimmy.
Well, here's the thing though. Joshua Dobbs been on that team for 2 years already, so he knows the offense.
I don't know obviously they don't have that much faith in him, or they wouldn't have got this freaking guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, who are you talking about? Talking about Deshaun Watson?
No, they wouldn't have got Jacoby
Brissett.
Yeah, because they just got him this season. So why would they went and got him if they have faith in Dobbs or whoever the hell?
Yeah,
that guy's still their 4th quarterback, whatever, right now.
Yeah, and I don't know how Joshua Dobbs. I remember watching him at Tennessee. He was pretty solid. I mean, he was with Pittsburgh, and they cut him. They let him go for what's his name, Mason Rudolph. So I don't know how good he really is, but yeah, who needs a quarterback more, them or us, if Deshaun Watson's suspended? You know what I mean? So I would ask for Jacoby Brissett. Don't mean that they can
still trade Jimmy and not give away their backup.
Yeah. But that's what I would ask for. Like, you want Jimmy? Cool. You give me Jacoby Brissett. And then, that's how the conversation would start. You know what I mean? And then see where it goes from there. But, yeah, I'm hoping that somebody gets cut, like a serviceable quarterback gets cut after preseason, and then we pick them up because I just don't have any faith in our backups.
I'm not that worried about it. I feel like this team puts so much more worry into our backup quarterbacks than any other team in the freaking NFL just because of everybody's so freaking like tarnished from fucking Jimmy G being hurt all the time. Like if 31 other teams, their quarterback went down for a month, they wouldn't be in a great situation either. Like that's what the whole point of a backup quarterback. They're not meant to be able to win you freaking a month worth of games. Yeah. They're meant to win you 1 or 2 games if they have to.
Yeah.
So I'm not that concerned with the fucking backup quarterback.
Yeah, kind of like with Colt McCoy. He had to play 4 games, and I think he won 3 out of 4. You know what I mean? So he went out there, he did his thing. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I think our team is good enough to overcome that. But I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but man.
And from all accounts, Sudfeld's been looking great in camp, so it's not like he's having some shit camp and looking like trash out there, so. And it's his 2nd year in this offense. I ain't worried about him.
Yeah. John, they finna drag you, brother. I'd be happy with Mason Rudolph as a backup, he said.
Real quick, and we'll go ahead and do a giveaway. But before we do that, I do want to share something with you guys. I put this link in the description of the video. I'm sure maybe most of you have probably seen it on Twitter by now, but if not, just in case, it's a link to the GoFundMe for Joel, which is 49ers Chanel. That's always in the chat with us, big 49ers fan. It's to help with the costs. He has cancer, and it's to help with the costs. He has to come to, he lives in Guam and has to, fly to the United States for some of his treatment because they just don't have the necessary, what he needs there in Guam. So he has to fly back and forth to the States, for his treatment. And obviously he can't be working, so it's just to help with his expenses and everything that he's, compiling through this whole experience now. So, I know not everybody's in the financial situation to help, but if you are, please, think about helping him. The post is also on Twitter. I'm going to share it again today to put it at the top of my page. So if you guys see it, just share it around, so we can keep it fresh out there in the Twitterverse. Sometimes, we might have all seen it, but there's somebody out there, people donate to people they don't even know, they see a GoFundMe story that, touches their heart and whatever, and they have the funds and, the means to do it, and they'll donate to people. So the more that we can get the story out there and spread, the more help that we can get to him. And then let's do a giveaway.
Sounds good.
We'll save the Vernon Davis card to the end. Let's do it for this autographed Jalen Moore card. This is actually a really pretty card. It's like red foil around it. It's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. No problem, Joel. We love all of our subscribers, and you guys support us, so we're going to support you as much as we can as well. So
Swan says if Jimmy can work, so can Sudfield. I'd much rather Sudfield. Purdy is not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and enter your numbers in the chat, 1 through 100, and we'll do that giveaway for that card. Yeah, I'd much rather Sudfield. Speaking of Purdy, did you get a chance to watch the new Brick by Brick episode that came out last night?
No, I have not. I plan on watching it this evening. No.
Yeah, so I was watching it when I was cooking, so I missed, little bits and parts. So I'm going to rewatch it. But they spent a huge portion of that episode on Brock Purdy. Not our starting quarterback, the guy that we didn't get to see them, put him in anything last year because they were hiding him because Jimmy was there. So, this season they should be advertising his face everywhere, putting him on everything, and still, no, they spend the whole freaking episode on Brock Purdy. Are you gonna be fucking kidding me?
You know what? I hope all this hiding of Trey and not talking about him much is like a, what do you call, it's a phrase that they use. Oh, like a method to his madness. You know what I mean, for Kyle? Because with all this stuff, I just have a feeling that Trey's gonna come out and just start killing people. Because everybody, when they do their practices, they have the open practice for the media and the fans, and then they have a closed practice.
Yeah.
I have a feeling during closed practice, he's out there doing his thing. So
yeah,
I hope it's a method to Kyle's madness, and I hope that all this hiding of Trey and not talking about him much and putting him on film and stuff like that is a reason for it, and he's just gonna come out and just be like, man, where did all this come from? So
yeah, because we keep saying, and we're saying it, and everybody's saying it, but we have to be ready to take our bumps and bruises with Trey. It's gonna be his first year starting, right? All this, which I agree, but at the same time, we were told this whole past year that by sitting Trey on the bench, it was going to prepare him more for this season coming up right now than him playing the entire season. That's what they tried to feed us. That's all we keep hearing, that he had to sit to learn, that's how he was going to have him be the most ready. So then shouldn't he be like a ready project that you've been there sculpting this entire last season? If that was the case, I'm not expecting that, but I'm saying if that was the case, and that's why you sat him, was to learn from Jimmy, the best since Steve Young. shouldn't that like clay project be ready now? It should be sculpted into a nice, beautiful vase by now. Like,
yeah. Well, here's my thing too. It depends on who you're mimicking and who you're looking at. Like, you had somebody like, let's just say Aaron Rodgers. He didn't have, he came out of Cal, but he started. He didn't play for like almost 3-4 years. But who was he sitting behind?
Mm-hmm.
A Hall of Famer.
Yep.
You got Trey, who hadn't played in over a year, watching a quarterback who's mediocre. And like you said, you sat there and you promised us, sitting Trey was the best thing. He's going to be ready, and this, and that. We're going to mold him. This is that. I don't know who gets better by sitting and watching. You have to take your reps in order for you to get better. Like if I started weight training, okay, and somebody's like, your form isn't right, and you need to do this, do that. Watch this person, and this, and that, and I'm sure you'll be this, and that. When I go and lift weights, I'm not going to be stronger. I'm going to be weaker than what I am because I didn't touch the weights for 6 months or whatever the case may be. Only way I'm going to get stronger.
Watch you, and then I'm going to get buff.
Yeah, only way I'm going to get. Let me watch you so I can learn how to get buff when I can be working out myself and getting buffed on my own. You know what I'm saying? So it's just I don't know. It's just a mess. Like, and we want to sit here and, I do trust Kyle Shanahan, but just because you trust somebody doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they do. So, that's just what I think. But like you said, I expect the bumps. I expect the bruises, all this other stuff. But man, like, I just never seen a starting quarterback who was held out of the media so much and out of videos and stuff like that. Like, they must have something that they see that they just want to surprise everybody with. Because
like, you should be like, it's all about money. You should be marketing like his face plastered everywhere.
Yeah, he's never marketed, like, ever. So I don't get it. But like I said, week 1 can't come soon enough, and I just hope this kid comes out there and does his thing and just shuts up everybody, including Niner fans, which is unbearable to me, Miriah. I don't know, even though I don't pay attention to a lot of fan bases, but I still see them on Twitter. I hear them in spaces. I hear like a Dolphin space, a Bengals space, a Ram space. We're the only ones who are at each other's throats when it comes to like our quarterback play and stuff like that. Like, it's just. I don't know. Like, I love my Niner faithful and my fans stuff, but some of them drive me to drink. Where I'm just like, these fools right here are just like, are you going to support your team or not? And then when they bring up I don't feel like Jimmy got his support. Are you kidding me? We were supporting him for the last 4 years, and now we're finished. So, you know what I mean? Because
like, we've just been tired the last year. We had already supported him all this other years.
Exactly.
That he didn't do shit.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Melissa says Miriah started with Brandon, his family, though, which was sweet. Yeah, brick by brick started with Brandon with his kids, like getting ready to come to training camp, and then him driving into the facility in training camp. So like the whole beginning is like Brandon driving in his car and he's talking the entire time. So
really?
It's nice to see. Yeah, like I'm loving to see Brandon Ayuk now like more comfortable. You can tell he's like more comfortable with the media and just opening up more and letting us, see like more of him.
Yeah.
Like, he was just so quiet, like.
Yeah, that's crazy. But one thing I will say, I want to see from Brandon, I want you to live up to that statement that you made in the offseason. Deep ball me, please. I want to see a lot of that this year.
Yep. I mean, I know it's just in practice, but so far it's been looking like it will. Now we just need it to translate to games.
Exactly.
Melissa also says that Jordan Mason and Anthony Lynn were the best part of Brick by Brick. And that is one of the subjects I wanted to touch on was Anthony Lynn. So everybody get your numbers in. Last call. I was watching a show today, Grant's, and he was talking about, and this is something I was thinking about like for years. I loved Kyle's offense when he was with the Falcons, and he had, the double running backs that, like he threw to the running backs a lot. Like, Matt Ryan was constantly dumping the ball off to those running backs, and like, I love when the running backs get used like that. And I just feel like, as much as Jimmy, like his whole thing, he could only throw short and over the middle. Like we didn't use the running backs like that way very often. Like he didn't throw to running backs very often. So I never like knew, like I don't know like the game that much in depth to know like why, like why that is. I don't know, like if there is a reason out there anyways. But Grant was talking about it today and said that, Anthony Lynn, his style is to use the running backs like that. So like that was something, once he said that, and I'm thinking like, that's right. Like when he was with the Chargers, like, yeah. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Anthony Lynn, like, the touches that he's going to put on this offense now, like from the running back side and everything, because like, what's our running back coaches, that old guy's name?
Bobby Turner.
Yeah. Like as great as he is, like, like he's like 110 years old. Like some things, stop working. Some things like you need to evolve and you need to, like, was he like, if Kyle and Mike McDaniel were so involved in the plays and in the running game and all this, like what was Bobby Turner doing? Like who really knows? So maybe, now that he's, out of there for a couple years and whatever, we'll actually see, some touches of Anthony Lynn's style, on this offense. What are your expectations to, like what he's going to, what touches, like what's he going to do to this offense? What say is he going to even has? Is Kyle going to even let him do this kind of stuff? Because it seems like, the drafting of the running backs of TDP and picking up Mason as well, both of their styles seem like they fit an Anthony Lynn style offense.
I love this signing. Like, I know a lot of people were down on it. They were like, Anthony Lynn was a terrible head coach for the Chargers. I'm like, well, he's not going to be the head coach for us. He's going to be an assistant head coach, and he's a running game genius. Like I think Kyle tried to attempt to use the running back in the mold of like of Devontae Freeman. Oh, sorry, I froze. I was looking at my Wi-Fi, like of a Devontae Freeman and stuff like that. And yes, JV, it was Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman on that team when he was with Atlanta, and he used them in an amazing way. You look at Anthony Lynn, Melvin Gordon was arguably like a top 7 back in this league when he was with the Chargers, and he left to Denver and he wasn't the same. And now you got what's his name? Now you got Austin Eckler, who was an undrafted guy. Austin Eckler has turned into a great pick. Like he's out there, he does his thing, and he catches out of the backfield a lot. So
he's great.
Like he's probably going to be like a 3rd round pick in fantasy. You know what I mean? Like he's good. Like so Anthony Lynn, I think we upgraded. Everybody thought, losing Bobby Turner was going to hurt and all this other stuff. I don't think so. I think Anthony Lynn is going to upgrade this running game, and then with us having Trey, that he have a threat to run with his legs. I think the running game is going to be that much better. So yeah, I expect like Elijah Mitchell and TDP and all them Sermon to be catching out of the backfield with the with what do you call it, the running back by committee approach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love this signing. Like I think Anthony Lynn's he's gonna come in and help Kyle. And even though Kyle, as great as he is, everybody can use some help. Everybody can use like a different twist from anybody. Like even if I'm a great head coach, I can have JV on my team and implementing his ideas. And if I had you, Miriah, implementing your ideas, that'll just make me that much better. So yeah, I think I expect some great things out of this running game. And, I think Elijah Mitchell has the number 1 job sold up, but I really truly believe that Kyle's going to, he uses the hot hand. And if I see TDP or Trey Sermon or whoever, and they're having a good game, he'll stick with that. And then, Elijah Mitchell, he showed he can catch out of the backfield too. I think Trey's first touchdown pass against the Houston Texans was a little dump off to Elijah Mitchell for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, with the running back who's such great out of the backfield like a Kyle Juszczyk, don't be surprised if he's not used more. And Anthony Lynn sees his worth as an offensive weapon. So yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm about to draw the giveaway right now, but you would think, I mean, this whole time we're like, Juice doesn't get enough usage. Why don't Kyle use him enough? Like, you say that he's this offensive weapon when you sign him and you're paying him all this money, for a fullback, but yet we don't get to see him and blah, blah. Well, maybe that's all, connected to all this.
Yeah.
Like, so hopefully, we do see these guys getting involved a lot more now that
And
we have a
before you do
quarterback.
the drawing too, Miriah, like you said too. I mean, we've seen Kyle Juszczyk in games on wheel routes when he's beating linebackers and wide open. We saw in practice where he cooked Fred Warner on a go route, and Kurt Warner. I mean, not Kurt Warner. And Fred Warner was he was frustrated. Remember, I think he kicked the ball in the stands. Like, he was like, "Man, I got beat." Like, so the fact that they don't use Kyle Juszczyk in that kind of situation more is mind blowing to me. But maybe with Anthony Lynn and with Trey, maybe we'll see it different, and he's used more because he is a threat out of that backfield.
Yeah, and like the number one thing I like about Juice is that he's so smart. Like, he's played other positions of football. So, and, he knows, what each position out there is supposed to be doing. He knows what the running back's supposed to do. He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows what the wide receiver is supposed to be doing, what the O-line is supposed to be doing, what the quarterback's supposed to be doing, And a lot of players aren't like that. They know what they're supposed to do, and that's it. So, I like that about him.
Yeah, for sure.
That's smart. Hey, Raymond.
Hey, Ray, you going to let everybody still put some numbers in, or are we done with that?
Yeah, Ray, we're about to do the giveaway right now. If you want to enter, drop your number. You'll have to scroll up and make sure that nobody else picked it. But
there's no doubles, yeah. Melissa and JV, I agree. Like, we talked about this a few minutes ago, how like me and her both were like, man, I wanted Tyrod Taylor on his team, and he has a connection with Anthony Lynn.
Yep.
Anthony Lynn. So yeah, but we all know why we didn't go that route. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I saw Melissa mention earlier too, about that Jimmy could still go to the Giants, and I do still think that's a possibility as well. And how you were talking about trading, for the Browns backup, like, that's what I want to do with them. We'll trade you, Jimmy, for him.
Give me Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. Ray said, "Don't worry about it. He'll do the next drawing."
Okay. They were talking about. David said, "I had to help a friend with a flat, driving my Jeep, no top or doors, with this stream all the way up. I appreciate you." I used to have a Jeep. I'm a huge Jeep girl.
Are you?
I loved my Jeep, but we had gotten a bad car accident in 2015, so I had to trade the Jeep in because it was hella lifted and, like, it was all tricked out, but had to trade the Jeep in and get a car that, like a vehicle that we're able to get in and out of. And, at the time I was taking, my wife back, and she had to go, she had to stay months in therapy, but once she was able to come home, then, I had to take her to physical therapy every day and all that. So I had to get rid of the Jeep, but she's been promising me since that for my 40th birthday, I'd get a new one. And, I turned 40 this year, but I don't know. I'm going to put it on pause for now.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. Maybe 42.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I'm looking at the numbers. It started with 3 with Brian, so he was the first one to enter his numbers. So.
All right. Let's see. 15.
15. Joel has 16 from what I can see. And so does Swan Song, though. They both have 16, but Joel was first.
Let's see, Swan. He's disqualified.
Let me see if there's any. Yeah, let me see if there's anybody else here. Nope, it's Joel.
All right.
16.
Congrats, Joel. Congrats. Got this autographed. Jalen Moore. I don't know why it's so bright over here. And then when I put it over here, it's like so dark. Let's put it in your bag. I already have it. Congrats, sir. All right. So, yeah. I can't wait to see what Anthony Lynn and everybody. And, Kyle talked about that recently, about since we had so much turnover, with coaches and stuff that, we heard about him having to stay back and, teach the new coaches the system, during the off season when they're supposed to be off and all this. And that, it kind of renewed him, to be teaching those things again and, So I think it'll be great for this offense. Like he was with those same people for so many years. Like,
Yeah,
like get new eyes, new brains, new,
I agree.
everything in
New
there.
ideas, and yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yep. So I think it'll be great to see, what everybody brings to this offensive game plan moving forward.
Yeah,
Let's see what we missed here.
it's
I'm like
crazy on
way
offense. Yeah, it's crazy on offense. We got a new assistant head coach, a new quarterbacks coach, and a new wide receiver coach.
Yep. Good. Melissa had brought up Spencer Burford, and that was one of my topics as well.
Mm.
I put Spencer Burford season. You didn't watch Brick by Brick, so I'm just going to tell you right now, barbecue or mildew. Once you watch Brick by Brick, then you can figure out what that means.
Barbecue or mildew?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard you right because I'm like,
That's
I don't
what
know how
Spencer
those.
Burford said.
Okay,
You
I don't know
either
what.
like barbecue
Okay,
or mildew.
okay, I got to figure that
So
out.
you better learn not to mildew.
You better learn. I better learn today, huh?
um, but like I'm like super excited for Spencer Burford. Like his whole attitude, like the way he carries himself in his pressers, like he doesn't seem like a rookie. Like he seems like he got this shit figured out already. Like he gets up there and talks with such confidence. Like, he got up there and talked in his last presser as a guy that already knew that he, has that starting job on lock. Like,
Good. I love
like
that
that's his job.
confidence.
Yeah. Like I love that. And what we're seeing from him on the field, the fact that he took up Trent Williams on his offer to go work out with him. And, like, and I told you this, we talked about this before, like every single person in that O line room should have, taken that opportunity. How many people in the NFL would love to have that opportunity, these young offensive line, guys coming into the league that, to work out with the best offensive line in the freaking league, to learn, to pick their brains, to be able to, work side by side with him, asking questions, and for, Poe and Spencer Burford to take that opportunity, like, I think that's huge. Like, I think that'll pay off, like, great. And from all accounts, like, they, like, everybody that went to training camp all talked about how little Poe is, like, in height wise, that they, and every single one said the same thing all on their shows. Like, I didn't realize how small, like, he was until we seen him out there on the field next to everybody else. But they said, like, he's like a bowling ball out there. Like, he's so short and just like so wide,
So
and he's
stout,
already
yeah,
so close to the ground that when he has to drop his hips and shit, like he's already there, like,
yeah.
and that like it's easy for him to get under the guy's pads, to keep his pad level, like low and stuff because he's already dropped down lower than all these guys,
Yeah, Paul already has the advantage when it comes to leverage and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but they were
Yeah,
saying like he's so strong though.
yeah.
Brad from SF Niners had compared it, and this is a great comparison, compared it to a doorstop. That, like you have this doorstop that's there, it's just so little, like it's this odd shaped but already low, and yet you put in there and it can hold this big ass door from moving,
It's awesome.
like, yeah. So that's what he compared into to Spencer Burford, to a doorstop. And he said that, like, and Brad's a offensive line guy, he
Yeah, he
played
is.
offense for years, so, and he said that he definitely sees something with Poe, and like he's given these guys, not obviously not for a starter right now, but definitely to make this roster as a backup. And I would hate that if we cut him, to try to get him to the practice squad and somebody else takes him, like I'm going to be heartbroken with that one.
Yeah.
Because I like
Protect
Poe.
him. Protect him every week at all costs.
Yeah. The thing is, though, they have to make it through waivers to even get back to the practice squad.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's the shitty part.
That's the hard, yeah.
So speaking of waivers, we had released a player this week. We signed a player. We, put that the player that we released is now back on the team on injured reserve. Leon O'Neal had quite a eventful week.
Yeah.
I guess he had got injured. The team, hadn't released that he had got injured. And he released the news himself on his Instagram or whatever, that he was injured. So that's how that injury news got out, which I'm sure with the 49ers being how they were, being how they are, they weren't happy about that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then that same night, he got into a fight on Twitter with Rohan. And like anybody that knows Rohan knows, like he's 18 years old. Like he's the nicest kid ever. Like I'm trying to already, marry my daughter to him, like have a prearranged wedding.
Yeah.
But like the nicest guy, like, he's covering training camp for his first year, the first time. Like we see all these other people covering training camp that are so biased and, like pushing such an agenda to what they want people to believe and shit. And like Rohan's like, he's the most like even person across, like he's telling you word like every single thing that he's seeing. You watch his show after, he goes through every single play that went through on training camp and details every single thing that happened. So like it was so weird to see like he had put that Leon O'Neal, that other safeties had or were before him on the depth chart, like that he was, pretty much the last safety on the depth chart. And Leon O'Neal didn't like that and went after Rohan, like pretty disrespectful, and it went back and forth. And Rohan, kept his cool, like explained to him, like, hey, I'm just telling you what I saw. Like, I didn't say anything disrespectful. I don't think you're playing bad. Like, like I think you have a shot, like, with continued work to get better and, whatever. And then it comes out the next morning that he got released from the team.
Yeah.
So that was kind of crazy. It did get like news came out today that he cleared waivers and is now on the 49ers injured reserve. What did you think about that whole situation? Like I've been team Leon O'Neal, we know.
Yeah.
But like Rohan's my guy.
He was on our
so
show.
Like I was like,
he's a good dude.
Like that's pretty fucked up. Like to start going after people, like, and you're, like we see that shit from like Eric Armstead and whatever going after Grant and stuff, but like you're an undrafted rookie, like barely hanging on by the skin of your freaking, and you're gonna start going after people on freaking Twitter and shit. Like, what the hell's the matter with you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go off of Izzy's comment first. She said that Leon O'Neal clapped back at Rohan. I like his fire. So I'm gonna agree with some of it, but not all of it. I agree with his fire as well because I see him on Twitter. I follow him, and I see that he's always like. It seems like he's hungry. Like he's always like, wait and see. I'm gonna shock the world. And he makes comments like I love that kind of confidence. But I'm sorry, the way he came after Rohan for constructive criticism, that was soft. I'm sorry, like what Ray said. I agree 100% what Ray said. The way that Rohan explained it wasn't even bad. He was just like, this is what I'm saying. I mean, well, the thing about it too was like, it wasn't even his fault. The guy tagged Leon O'Neal.
Yeah.
What is he looking like out in camp? He called it just like he saw it. Oh, well, he's doing this. He's not really getting an opportunity. He's third string. Like, what did he say? That was a lie.
Yeah, there was nothing to clap back at.
There was nothing to clap back at. Like, why did you clap back at something when he didn't even say anything wrong? Like, what he said was true, but you got some constructive criticism from an 18-year-old kid who seems like he's more level-headed than you are. For you to come back at him like that was disrespectful. I don't agree with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what he did showed that he, to me, was soft as a marshmallow. Like, come on, man. Like, you don't do stuff like that. But like I said, I respect him. I like his passion. I like the way he's on his KD stuff for real. He act like Kevin Durant. You get constructive criticism and you want to ask for a trade. You know what I mean? But I don't like the way he handled it. Hopefully, and I don't know if he will, but hopefully he sees him at training camp and says, hey, you know what? I apologize. Like, be the bigger man and find him in the audience and be like, you know what, man, the way I came at you on Twitter was wrong. I shouldn't have handled myself that way. All you did was give a simple report. Like, these new athletes, man, like stop being so sensitive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was ridiculous the way he handled that. So, like I said, I hope ultimately he makes a team. I'm rooting for the guy. Like, during the whole draft, he kept saying, man, can somebody come and get me? And this and that. And I kept telling him, like, just be patient, bro. Like, whatever's meant to be will be. Like, you have your plan and God has his. Just you'll have your opportunity. You know what I'm saying? He got the opportunity. And I already thought he was going to be a practice squatter anyway. and for him to be on the injured list, like they're probably going to stash him and just get him better. I see
that's
him
actually better now because they
I
can
think so
stash
too.
him.
Yeah, so I see him more of like a Marcel Harris type role going forward, where he plays some strong safety and / linebacker because he is a hitter out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just there's ways to handle. So he's young as well. He's like 22 years old. So I think he knew. I think it was more of him being frustrated because he wanted that opportunity and then he got hurt, so he wasn't out there being able to show what he can do. But I'm glad that they brought him back. He can learn, he can stay on the team for a year, and then get another opportunity to make that 53-man next year. So yeah, like you said, dude was probably frustrated. It's like what I just said. He's probably frustrated because he's hurt. And when you're undrafted, you got something to prove.
Yeah.
It's not like he was drafted and they're like, oh man, like this, like he was undrafted, so they have that chip on their shoulder. He wants to be healthy. He wants to show why he should have been drafted. So I get it, but there's ways to handle this, and the way he handled it with Rohan was disrespectful, and I don't like it.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, what's up, Emiliano? Appreciate you joining us. Bryant says, listen to Rohan, then listen to Jack Hammer. Different views. They're both at camp. I would say you can listen to everybody that was at camp and then listen to Jack Hammer, and you'll see that they have different views. Because it seems like Jack Hammer's just on his own fucking Jack Hammer Island out there.
I think Jack Hammer's on his David Lombardi stuff. He wants to go against the grain.
Yeah, I had to unfollow him because I just couldn't take it anymore. Honestly, I had to already stop watching his show last season, and like just the constant bullshit that he's putting out on Twitter. Like he's doing it. Like so many people I feel like are trying to like copy what Grant does. Like, oh, if I can get a rise out of people, I can get, and it's like, we always talk about this, like stay in your lane, like get your own style, do your own thing. Like you'll be so much more successful if you find your own niche and stay with that. Like stop trying to be Grant, because you're doing a shitty job at it.
Yeah. And what grown man can't, like, you need to be your own man.
Exactly.
Stop trying. You're Jack Hammer's probably my age or older. Yeah, he's sitting here trying to copy somebody else for clicks to get his click. Well, I don't know. Black don't crack, so I look a lot younger than what I am. But yeah, but no, I just like
this is true, Ray. Definitely.
Yeah, you need to be your own man. Like sit there and be like, well, this is what Grant does, and well, Grant does what he does, and that's what Grant does. Find your own niche and do what's best for you, and stop trying to be another man. Like that to me is ridiculous.
Yep, I agree. Miliano says, being good at something for your whole life and then seeing it not play out like you thought it would in the draft and then in camp, that has to be frustrating. Yeah, I agree. Like you need to find like at that point in his life, he obviously, I don't know if he doesn't have somebody there like in his ear, like, telling him what he should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, but like you're not in college anymore. You need to act like a professional. Like going at people on fucking Twitter, ain't it? When you're trying to play for the fucking San Francisco 49ers, like.
Exactly. Yeah, Ray's absolutely correct. Jack on Twitter and Jack on YouTube are like two different people. I totally agree.
Yeah, same, John.
Like me, like if you meet me, I'm the same on Twitter, same on YouTube, same in person. Like this is just who I am. Like I don't know. It's just it baffles my mind that people sit there and try to have one perception of themselves, and then I'm on this way. Like, dude, be who you are, and stop having all these Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type personalities because you're trying to get clicks. That's ridiculous.
Yep. Hey Troy, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, this is the exact thing, Ray. Like, Grant. I mean, when Jack, before he got his own channel, he would be doing film breakdowns, on Grant's channel with him, and would be talking shit about Jimmy. And then all of a sudden, like, he has his head in Jimmy's lap on Twitter. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, you're going against everything you just said in the freaking film breakdown.
Yep. Absolutely.
But so let's, we've already been here a long time. So let's get into Green Bay. Shanahan did come out and say that, we should expect to see Trey Lance and, some of the starters, the first game and the third game of preseason. So we know tomorrow play the Green Bay Packers. So I'm hella looking forward to seeing Trey Lance out there, even though I'm sure it won't be for too long. but it'll just be nice, to see the offense out there, get some work together. I wouldn't expect, that we're going to see, Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey. So we're still going to have, a makeshift offensive line, which is kind of scary. But I'm hoping that after the Green Bay game that, we kind of can make a decision on what center they're going to stick with and just keep that center there getting the work from now on instead of keep switching them out. But there's some players that I'm looking forward to seeing and some position groups, obviously, that we have battling. Something I had meant to touch on where that obviously, we have injuries to both our starting cornerbacks. So, that's why once we released Leon O'Neal this week, we signed a cornerback for, I'm guessing he ain't going to make the team, but he'll be on, as a camp body. Yeah. So I wouldn't expect obviously to see our starting cornerbacks anyway, but it'll be nice, to see the young guys in there getting some work. We've heard that Ambry's had a pretty bad camp up to this point. So, maybe he can get in there and do something and, get his confidence back up. It'll be nice to see, how the O-line battles in there. I'm not sure. I would not expect to see Debo and Ayuk out there. I would be surprised if so. Obviously not George Kittle. But, we'll see what Kyle decides to do there. You never know. What are you – and as before TL goes and answers this, let's go ahead and do the giveaway for this Vernon Davis card. It's a Vernon Davis jersey patch. It's numbered as well. Number 30 out of 199. This is a very nice card. It's super thick nice too. It had to have a special holder for this shit.
Oh wow.
So yeah, go ahead and enter your numbers 1 through 99, 1 through 100, whatever. And tell me what you're looking forward to the most. What are you expecting out of this game to Green Bay? What are we going to see? And what are you looking forward to the most?
I want to see some continuity within that interior offensive line. I want to see Jake Brendel looking very good out there. I hope, the snaps are clean and stuff like that. I see JV, he liked your comment, head in his lap.
I got that from TL.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm looking for offensive line play. What Troy said, my hope is to stay healthy. I want us to stay healthy. No serious injuries out there. We've been pretty blessed up till this time. I just hope it continues. So you mentioned, and so on offense, I want to see how the offensive line plays, and I want to see, the improvement of that run game. I think Elijah Mitchell probably plays 1 or 2 series or maybe 3 like Trey first quarter, but I'm curious to see that second position. Who wins it? Is it Trey Sermon or TDP? I expect them to get a lot of work in the second and third quarter, and I think that Jordan Mason, I think he finishes it off in the fourth quarter. Trey probably get 1 or 2 series. I would like to see more. If the offensive line is playing well, I'd like to see him play more series. Since he's only playing game 1 and 3. If we're looking good out there and I see some chemistry going out there, let's keep it going, as long as he's not getting no interior pressure going on. So the offense for sure, I want to see who's going to step up, because I think we're going to keep 6 receivers. So I want to see who's going to win that job. Is it going to be your boy Tay Martin? Is it going to be Malik Turner? Is it going to be Keyshawn Johnson or Willie Snead? Who knows? You know what I mean? So I like to see how this wide receiver group's going to pan out. And Danny Gray, I want to see his speed showcased a little bit. I want to see him go out there and run some go routes just to let the league know this is what you're in for. And if he takes a top off, you're going to have to take a corner and possibly a safety with him. And then all you're going to see is stuff open up for Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo, and that's going to be danger for any defense. So, and I think you hit the nail on the head with the defense. Who's going to win that starting nickel? I heard that Samuel Womack is looking pretty good. Darqueze Dennard, this and that. But you're right, Ambry Thomas. I need you to step up. I remember last year, I'm a Wolverines fan, and I remember last year, I'm sure everybody remembers that interview when he was talking about the Bay Area and how expensive it was and all this stuff. And he said, well, I'm not really worried about the money. I'm going to let my play take care of my pockets.
Yep.
Well, let's see it. because I haven't seen it. You played great last year towards the end of the season. You made the game-winning interception, and I was like, man, okay, he's coming into a zone now. And now I'm hearing that all you've been doing is struggling, and Delmer Lenore is now outplaying you,
Mhm.
which I don't care. Like, may the best man win.
Yeah.
But you were a third round pick. They were high on you. I don't. This is since Kello Witherspoon. You're one of the highest drafted corners that we've had in a long time. I need to see you step up. I need to see you get more physical. I think your IQ needs to get a little bit better too, because I'm always hearing that you're with your man, but you're getting beat because you're not turning your head around, or like you're there, but your position isn't good. So I need to see some of the corners stepped up, with Tarvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley being hurt. It's kind of a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, because I'm just glad that Tarvarius Ward and Mosley aren't hurt for like months. It's going to be just a couple weeks. They're going to be ready for week one. I honestly just sit them and Eric Armstead for the rest of this time, because you know what they can do, and let these young guys get these reps with the Amina Hughes and the Kevin Givens inside, stuff like that. Drake Jackson being used as Arden Key inside out. But yeah, I think the secondary, as a starters, I'm not worried about Ward and Mosley. I'm worried about more like the nickel. And then if somebody were to get down, and I don't know what's going on with Jason Verrett. I seen him at the beginning of the week, he was running. He looked good. Like, his hips looked fluid, looked like he had some speed. I don't know if he's ready to play yet, but I want to see him get in there too, if he can. If not game one, at least game 2 or 3, to see what we got. So yeah, so that's what I have for this game tomorrow.
Tanya, I know you just got back, so enter your number. We're doing the Vernon Davis card giveaway. What's up, Ryan? Better late than never. Rather have you here at the end than not have you here at all. Yeah, it's crazy, especially with Ambry, because like you said, he finished the season so good, and then it's like he took 10 steps backwards, like during the summer, or like I don't know. It's crazy. It's like you would think, he should have put his head down, went to work, and but I don't know. Obviously, that's what Demo did, which is good. Like, because I liked Demo last year, and then he didn't have his shit together yet. So, if he's looking good out there, then obviously, that's what he did. He put his head down, went to work, and
Yeah.
So good for him.
And I'm more upset or disappointed about Ambry, because, before, the draft and everything, I'm like, man, he's going to be one of those people who are going to be competing for a starting corner position. You know what I mean? Like, I thought, he's great. It'd be like him and Mosley battling for that outside after we got Tarvarius Ward. That looked like, I don't think he's going to get cut, but I think, it's just like he might be like our 6th corner or something by the way he's playing. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we're running out of roster spots to keep these people that just aren't, like, one of them has to be the odd man out. I don't see how we can just keep both of them when we have other corners on the team that are performing. Like,
that's true. I mean, unless he's traded or something. But now, we talked about on the last show, we used to keep our draft picks because the team wasn't as stacked as it is. But now we're looking at it as like, okay, now we really can't say like Ambry Thomas, he won't get cut because he was a draft pick. But so was Samuel Womack. So was Tariq Castro Fields. So was Delmer Lenore. They're all draft picks. So somebody's going to have to go if nobody's performing. So I just have high hopes for Ambry. He has so much speed. He's a 4.3 guy. He has all the tools. He's more of a press man guy. But, I heard he's struggling in zone. But, hey, it's the NFL. You need to learn how to adjust, or, not for long, as they say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree, JV, when D'Amico was doing his presser and they asked him about Ambry, and he says, Ambry's still learning. I'm like, oh, okay, well, he didn't sound very confident.
Ambry's still learning. Yeah, that's not good.
Like, he didn't say, like, normally he's like, oh, he's doing great. Each day he's getting better, whatever, the D'Amico talk. But no, he didn't say that.
He's still learning.
I don't know, Tanya. She must be. She's probably in spaces. That's why she ain't listening. She's blaming it on Costco.
Blaming on Costco's Wi-Fi.
So if you're not in the giveaway, then too bad for you. Last chance to enter into the giveaway. Then we're picking. Another thing that's been going around in the news cycle today was, or maybe yesterday, I don't know, Deebo Samuel put his 49ers picks back on Instagram. His profile picture is now him in a 49ers uniform. There she is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. He's not cleaning his Instagram anymore. Yeah, it did sound similar. Melissa says, does D'Amico talking about Ambry reminds anybody else of the way Shanahan talked with about Brandon Ayuk last year? It's so crazy, you know, from the way that Brandon Ayuk started the season last year, and then, you know, to start this season, like having a great camp, you know, Kyle Shanahan's talking glowingly about him. You know, they start brick by brick with freaking, you know, Brandon Ayuk starting it, and it's just like, wow, like,
and it could be something with,
like he could have caved in from that. He could, you know, like we saw with Dante Pettis, and never get back out of the fucking doghouse and, you know, just go cry in the corner instead. But no, you know, like he put his head down, he fucking worked and got to where he's at now. You know, that's what I love to see.
I know it sounds so bad, but every time I hear the name Dante Pettis, I start laughing. Like that name just makes me laugh so much, man. You know what? I will say before you do the giveaway with Ambry Thomas, maybe it's one of those things where like he got too comfortable. Where it was just one of those things where he was just like, oh, okay, like I played well towards the end of the year, and now they trust me, and who knows, like he could have got comfortable in the offseason and didn't work as hard, which is a terrible mindset because you're in the NFL and people are fighting for 53-man roster spots every day. You know what I mean? So I hope this is something where it's like a learning experience where it's just like, man, like I lacked in the offseason. I didn't work as hard as I could have, you know, so hopefully it's one of those things where like he's learned from that. So we'll see. And there's just some players too who just suck in practice, but then when game time situation comes up, they turn it on. So yeah, we'll see. This is good for Ambry Thomas to see what he can do in an actual game. You know what I mean? So
I mean, he didn't suck in practice last year, so why would you just all of a sudden start sucking in practice?
Well, no, remember Ambry last year. Remember Ambry last year? They said he was struggling a little bit.
Well, at the beginning, that's because he was just first in the league. But then they started saying, "Yeah, he's practicing way better than Diamador Lenore."
Yeah,
so we've seen him practice good.
Hopefully, it's just not one of those things where he got too comfortable and now he's like, man, I need to turn it on. So, and you're right, JV, competition is just better. So, yeah.
Emiliano brought this up about the Patriots, but you know, I was talking to Steph from 49K about this, but about with the Steelers because I had heard Najee got hurt. You know, really? And it might come up, you know, and you know, Emiliano brings it up today. You know, White announced that he was retiring today. So, you know, we're waiting for, you know, quarterbacks, sounds like shitty to say we're waiting for quarterbacks to get hurt, but, you know, for something to happen, for, you know, Jimmy to get out of here. But, you know, we've been discussing about how deep this running back room is and, you know, like, oh, we're going to have to cut this guy or, you know, like, you know, Mason might take, you know, Hasty and Jeff Wilson's spot and yada, yada. But like, you know, that there's running back needy teams out there, even if it's, you know, not the Patriots or, you know, the Steelers, whatever. There's probably 29 other running back rooms that are worse than ours in the NFL right now. And so, you know, that if somebody doesn't trade for one of those running backs, we have to let at least two of those running backs, you know, clear waivers to get back to the team, to make it to the practice squad. And those teams are waiting. Freaking their mouths are salivating, waiting to see what 49ers players are going to drop into the freaking, you know, pool. And I think it's a real possibility that we could, you know, see a running back traded because,
I agree.
You know, the 49ers, obviously they have to know too, you know, so if they can trade, you know, a running back or, you know, even if it's, you know, Jeff Wilson, that's, you know, getting old and injured or Hasty that wasn't he was undrafted, right?
He was undrafted.
You know, so if you can trade them for something, you know, why not? Before, you know, you have to cut them and then the team's just going to pick them up for free off the waiver wire. So,
and Hasty just reminds me of a Patriots type of running back. Like he just seems like he fits there. And, you know, the thing about it too, and you're funny how you say like our room is pretty good at running back. And I think the only team that possibly has a better room than us, there's one of them who wants to trade in Kareem Hunt. So it's like, so our room is looking pretty strong. But yeah, I can see it's funny too because Jeff Wilson, I feel like he's been in the league forever, but he's only like 26. He's still pretty young, but I think the injuries kind of have making him fall off a little bit. But yeah, if the Patriots come a call and say, hey, let me get JaMychal Hasty for a 7th-round pick or Jeff Wilson for a 7th-round pick. Like, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and have him. That makes our job that much easier. Yeah, you're right, JV. All Patriots running backs have long hair. It's true. Like he just looks like a Patriots running back. It's funny.
Maybe we could package a running back and the quarterback up in a deal and send them both to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Because I heard Mac's not looking so great over there. All right, let's pull this winner. 39.
All right, let me scroll up a little bit.
Who are you expecting to win this game against Green Bay? I know that obviously the wins don't matter, but
yeah, it doesn't matter. Is it? Pardon this question. Are we playing at home? Yeah, we are. Yeah. I think we are. I think I heard Trey say he's going to the game.
Yeah, they're going to the game. Tanya's going.
I think the Packers are going to win. I just think the Packers are going to win because they'll probably have, and I know he hasn't showed anything, but Jordan Love is probably better than Seth Field or whatever. But I don't know. He looked terrible last year.
I don't think so.
But I don't know. I'm going to say the Packers are going to win this game because I feel like we're going to sit a lot of our starters, and we have more vets on our team than they do. Like they have to have a lot more young guys, I think, play, if that makes sense. Like, because we don't have like Bowles is probably not going to play, Trent Williams, stuff like that. So I'm going to say the Packers, and I think it's going to be like 24-20 or something like that. I think Trey Sermon scores the first touchdown for the Niners, though. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the running back, seeing what Trey Sermon has. I'm looking forward to seeing Mason because, we've heard all this rave of him coming out of training camp, but we haven't got to actually see him, with our own eyes. So it'll be nice to be able to see that. I think David's the closest.
Melissa, I'm not taking anything back after I saw that comment saying that you hate Kyle Juszczyk. How can you hate Kyle Juszczyk? That's like, maybe you don't like him and you like Hulk better, but hate, that's a strong word, Izzy. I don't know about that one. Let me see let me look at the numbers with you as well.
I think David.
What was the number?
39.
39. All right, let me take a look just so we can have. Yes, definitely David.
All right. Congratulations, David. Let me get this packaged up. But yeah, I'm so excited to finally have football, even though it's preseason. And, normally I don't get into preseason too much. But to finally get to Trey and, we have a lot of battles. Normally we don't have, these big battles for this last little roster spot. So the competition should be good.
Got a new listener. Hey, Corey, kid. How you doing?
Hey, Corey. So, yeah, hopefully, like you said, we can just make it through with no injuries. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's my number one right there.
We've been pretty good up until this point. And, yeah, we've had, minor injuries. But I feel like, like the slightest little pain in something, like the team's just being, like, extra careful.
Extra cautious,
like, okay, we're shutting you down. Like, don't even risk it and let it get any worse, So I think they're just shutting people down, it seems like.
That's your lucky number, David. He said he's won twice with the number 42.
Dang.
Ronnie Lott, my favorite football player ever. Him and Barry Sanders.
There you go. Congrats. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. Are we going to do a show tomorrow after the game, or are we going to start with regular season? You're muted.
We can do the regular season game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then we'll just see you guys next week sometime.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Will the 49ers do good this year? They better.
I think, yeah. I think at best we can go like 13-4, and I think at worst 10-7.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I think probably, but My guess for the season is 11-6. This is not a biased take, but I really think we're going to go 5-1 in our division. I think we sweep the Seahawks for the first time in a long time. I think the Arizona Cardinals are just in shambles right now. Like their team is a mess, and I think that the Rams will probably split. And then I think we go 2-2 against the AFC West. I think the games I have losing is against the Chargers and the Broncos because we play them in Denver. And Russell Wilson is just, he's Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And then I think we beat the Chiefs at home. I really do. I just have a feeling that they're going to be not as good as they were.
I agree.
So I think we're going to beat the Chiefs at home, and I think we beat the Raiders here in Las Vegas. So yeah,
if we beat any team this season, please God, let it be the Raiders because life in Vegas is unbearable if we're going to lose to the Raiders.
Because I walk around my Niner gear all the time, and people will be like Raiders baby, and I'm just like whatever. I'm like
yeah. So yeah, please let us beat them.
Yeah, when they scream Raiders baby, I say 5 championships baby, and then I kind of shut them down a little bit.
I say I'm gonna put you in a black hole, baby. When I knock you the fuck out. Anybody that's going to the game tomorrow, please be safe. Tanya, make sure those twins behave. I know only one's going, but their one is crazy enough for both of them, so keep the kids in control. But yeah, everybody have fun tomorrow. Be safe. And those that aren't going to the game, have fun and be safe still. Let's kick some Green Bay ass because we know that Melissa don't want to hear her brother
talking trash to her.
Yeah, rubbing it into her, even though it's preseason. But yeah, let's hope that our guys, they make it out of the game safe and Trey goes out there and does great things so we don't have to hear his haters all fucking week long.
Yeah, Trey, for your sake, man, I hope we do beat Denver. But, being in the country, I'll never forget back in 2010, I'm an Orlando Magic fan. We went to the finals. We played against the Lakers. I was living in California at the time. It was unbearable after that finals when the Lakers beat the Orlando Magic because all my friends, everybody I saw, what happened to your Magic? What happened to the Magic? It was so frustrating. Like I wanted to punch people in the face and got that.
Yeah, I'm a sore loser, so like I'll take the loss, whatever, but I don't want to be hearing about it for weeks,
Yeah.
Like I walk into work and people would be like, "Oh, what happened to ugh. Like I'll be fucking getting pissed. Like, you'll make an enemy real quick because I won't forgive your ass."
Yeah, like that Super Bowl loss against the Chiefs. When I go to work, all I heard was, "Oh, what happened? You guys used to be undefeated in Super Bowls, and now all you guys do is lose them." I was like, "Oh," because from Baltimore to Kansas City, we lost our last 2. So I'm like, man, I can't use the perfect in Super Bowls no more. And I remember I can't. I mean, it was nonstop. You guys went from 5-0 to 0-2. Now you guys can't win a Super Bowl. I'm like, oh my God, it's so annoying.
Yeah, I agree. All right, fam, we appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for tuning in with us. We know that there's a lot of Niners content out there right now. And, as always, I want you guys to watch all of them and show love to everybody out there. But we appreciate you guys being here and showing love to us too. But yeah, I wanted to comment real quick. I had seen Bryant had commented earlier about, he just he may not like all the content creators or whatever, but wants to show respect to everybody. And I'm the same way. Normally I'm not going to talk about somebody that I dislike. But when somebody's on my last fucking nerve, that's the point that I'm at with him. And I, out of all people, I try to push everybody going to watch everybody and tuning in and supporting all the content creators out there. So you're never gonna, have me tell you guys not to watch somebody. That's
absolutely. For sure. And this is a genuine conversation that she's having. I met Miriah twice in person, and she's the most loyal, genuine person that you'll ever meet. She keeps her real 100% 24/7. So she's not being fake when she says go out there and show support to all the shows. So,
Melissa says, can we shout out Gina's new show? If you can put in the name of I don't remember the name of the channel offhand, but Gina.
repping the Bay, right? Is that
Yeah.
one? Yeah, it's her channel.
She has a new show on YouTube. Me and TL are going to be on there next week. So on her next episode. It just started. She had her first episode last night. So we'll be on her next panel of guests. So once Melissa posted in the chat, then we'll put it up there. Make sure you guys go subscribe to her. But yeah, much love to you guys. I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week sometime.
Yep.
Until then, find us on Twitter, all right?
That's right. And have a good evening, fam.